next movie is the movie that I picked, Event Horizon, and I'm going to read the summary real quick. When the Event Horizon, a spacecraft that vanished years earlier, suddenly reappears, a team is dispatched to investigate the ship. Accompanied by Event Horizon's creator William Ware, Sam Neill, the same guy that played in Jurassic Park, and a few other movies that he's really well known for, like The Omen. Sam Neill, the crew of the Lewis and Clark, led by Captain Miller, Laurence Fishburne of The Matrix fame and many other movies, begins to explore the seemingly abandoned vessel. However, it soon becomes evident that something sinister resides in its corridors, and that the horrors that befell the Event Horizon's previous journey are still present. And again, this movie stars Laurence Fishburne as the main character, Sam Neill as probably what's it called, the second lead or whatever they call it. Some of these other names I don't recognize, but their faces I recognize. Like I've seen them in other stuff, I just don't know their names. Another one who plays in this movie that's not listed here is Jason Isaacs. He played in The Patriot. He played the villain in The Patriot, and I think he played in the Harry Potter movies as Slytherin guy or whatever his name is. But next, I'm going to show the clip that I chose.
The ship brought me back. I told you she won't let me leave. She won't let anyone leave. Did you really think you could destroy this ship? She's defied space and time. She's been to a place you couldn't possibly imagine. And now, it is time to go back.
I know. To hell.
You know nothing. Hell is only a word. The reality is much, much worse. Let me show you.
No, they're not dead. They're not dead.
Not yet.
They're not your crew anymore. They belong to the ship.
Your way only.
Take me. You take me, you leave them alone.
No. There is no escape.
The gangway is open, and you are all coming with me. You see? Do you see?
Right. Okay, now that should give the audience a little bit of a feel of this type of movie. It has some The Thing, John Carpenter type of vibes to it. But next I'm going to read the critical reception. All right. On the review aggregator on Rotten Tomatoes, Event Horizon holds an approval rating of 32% based on 87 reviews, and the average rating is a 5 out of 10. Its consensus reads, despite a strong opening that promises sci-fi thrills, Event Horizon quickly devolves into an exercise of style over substance, whose flashy effects and gratuitous gore fail to mask its over-reliance on horror cliches. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? On Metacritic, the film holds a weighted average score of 35 out of 100 based on 20 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of D+ on an A+ to F scale. Roger Ebert here, our friend Roger Ebert, gave the film 2 out of 4 stars, commending its atmosphere and noting the opening portion as particularly well crafted. However, he felt it never managed to become the intense, thought-provoking experience it wanted it to be. The Washington Post critic Stephen Hunter called the film. I guess I skipped that part. But anyway, since this is my movie, I will go first. All right, guys. Here's why I love this movie. I love this movie because I think it shows you what you can do when you have a great concept. And the concept for this movie is just freaking amazing. It's the concept alone to be silence. I'm speaking. the great one is speaking. The great one is speaking. The concept alone, I think, is frightening. You know what I'm saying? And I think the way they went about illustrating it throughout the movie, I thought he did an amazing job. I think his name, what's his name? Anderson? What's the director? He also directed Mortal Kombat, by the way. Paul W.S. Anderson is the director. And I think that the whole interior setting of the Event Horizon spaceship was beautifully crafted. And one of my favorite parts about the movie, as far as the visuals, is the gravity drive, with the circle with the rings going around it at the center of the ship. I love the design, and the coolest thing about the movie is that the ship itself was a character, and I thought the way they brought it to life was really interesting. And for the audience, if you don't know, the basic concept behind the movie is that this ship was the first ship to be created to go faster than light. And Sam Neill, who plays the scientist who created it, explains that it doesn't actually go faster than light. What it does is that mechanism at the center of the ship creates a black hole. And then the ship goes through the black hole, so it bends space, right? And the first test, it was supposed to just go to like Uranus or Neptune or something like that. But it disappears. And then like however many years later, it turns up by Neptune where we're supposed to go. But then there's nobody on the ship, so they send another crew there to go find out what happened to the crew. And then later on, long story short, you find out this movie just didn't go. I mean, this ship didn't just go to like a far flung away part of the universe. It literally went to another dimension, and that dimension was like what we would consider probably like hell. So when it comes back, it brings back whatever entities that were there back with it. And that's what the new crew who was investigating is experiencing when they get on the ship. And another reason why I like the movie is because, again, it has very Lovecraftian themes similar to the Thing. In fact, while watching, I was like, man, this reminds me a lot of a Carpenter film, a John Carpenter film. And again, great acting. One of my favorite things about the movie is the main character, Laurence Fishburne, the black guy. I remember when me and John were kids, we were always like, if we were in a horror movie, if we're going to die, we're going to at least try to punch the thing that's trying to kill us. And that's what he did. He's like, look, we're going to die. I'm going to try something. And that's what he does. Yeah, and that's what he does. You know what I'm saying? He goes out like a G. You know what I'm saying? But I love the underlying.
Hey, put your sign down.
I love the underlying dread that this movie creates, and I don't think, in a similar way that The Thing, I don't think people quite understood it when it came out. I think this movie also, I don't think people quite understood the full depths of it when it came out. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it has the same level of classic effects as The Thing. But I think as far as conceptually and the overall amount of dread that... I mean, because remember at the end of The Thing, where you just see Kurt Russell and Keith David after they've blown up the thing, the facilities that they were in, and they're just sitting there waiting for the fire to go out, because when the fire goes out, they know they're going to die, because there's no one coming. It's too cold to exist there. Same thing with this movie. It's like, by the end, you don't really know you don't know if these people are still trapped on this ship or if they got out. It's because the way it ends is like the doors of the ship close as people come in to rescue them. So I loved it. I thought it was. I loved it from the first time I saw it, and I still love it now. It's one of the few movies I go back and I rewatch as far as being, as far as a horror movie. So my rating, I don't think it quite reaches legendary status. I don't think it's as good as The Thing. but it's damn good. I give it 5 lucid bulbs. 5. Eat that, DJ Dave. So next we're gonna go to King 81, and we're gonna work our way around.
All right, cool.
Let me down.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I remember this movie back in the day and all like that. I really liked the storyline. It was interesting, and also like the fact too that like when you were saying the ship is like a character of it. It's just I love those endings too, where it's like it's like oh no, it's like like a new crew is going on there to try to sit there and investigate, but you already know what's going to happen. It's like starting all over again. You know what I'm saying? And it was just interesting, man. To me, I always felt like the ship kind of reminded me of like a Klingon. The ship, why is it stuff?
Yeah, it has that shape to it.
It's that same, yeah.
When you research it, they actually when you look at the inside of it, they designed it to make it similar to like cathedrals, almost like a church. You see some of the arches and stuff inside of it. I mean, it's even shaped kind of like a cross.
Oh, I got you. Oh yeah, that's yeah. But yeah, I enjoy the acting, suspenseful, wise, just special effects as well too. It reminded me of the thing. Now that you mentioned it, I've been seeing just those cuts and those scenes like that. It seems like it's more updated wise. From back in the '80s type. So it gave that vibe as well too. But yeah, I really want to say the storyline. I'm always interested in stories like when they go like back in time or in space and come back, and it's just always interesting me. So with this one, I definitely give it a 4.
All right, move on to Mutundo 83, and well done, King 81. Well done. All right, Mutundo, what's your overall thoughts? And
We watched this movie when last time me and you hung out because you were showing me the clips of it. And I'm like, I remember this movie. Once again, Laurence Fishburne hit it out the park. I've always liked Sam Neill's acting ever since I first saw him in Jurassic Park. The only problem I had with this movie, it came in that time period where everybody had a space drama or a space horror. Because I think, what's that movie? I think the Deep Sea movie at the time came out at the time, and
that's not a space.
And they had
space horror.
No, they had a bunch of movies with this similar premise. That's what I'm trying to say.
Name one. Name one.
But are you challenging me, Brian?
Yeah, I am challenged. You've been challenged.
What's the name of that movie? It had a lady in it.
The Fifth Element.
Fifth Element.
No, the Fifth Element,
right?
No, it was the Fifth Element.
Fifth Element
it was a species.
Fifth Element is
Well, you had
Arrival. I think it was no, not Arrival. What's the lady?
Maybe Sphere.
Where
Not the Fifth Element.
Spears. That's it.
Starship
Spears.
Troopers. Oh, Spears.
Spears.
Because that came out at the same time too.
Yeah. But by far this one was the best. I mean, this one actually kept my attention as of the other ones. They petered off until they got to the end, and then when they got to the climax movie, it was like, oh well, it's like okay, the creature. But as for this movie, man, Sam Neill was just honestly scary in it. He wasn't menacing, and like most movies, the villain makes the movie. And Laurence Fishburne, as great as he is, he got his ass whooped in this movie.
Yeah, he did try to fight though.
One thing I did like about Laurence Fishburne too is he was no nonsense. Once he kind of figured out what was going on, he was like relieving this shit, and I'm gonna send attack missiles at it.
Matter of fact, it's not the exact same premise, but when John said Fifth Element, it reminded me of something like Lost in Space came out around the same time as this movie. And Gary Oldman was in Fifth Element and Lost in Space.
Neither one of those movies are horror movies, though. Neither one are horror movies.
I know they're not horror movies, but like Lost in Space had the same, a similar premise. They had a black speed engine. They got off course, and they had to deal with all this calamity in the background. This movie, they didn't get off course, but they brought something back. So they had to deal with calamity that they brought back. So it's a similar premise. One's not a horror movie and one's an adventure movie.
When did Lost
this movie right to me was a perfect blend of adventure, suspense, and horror to me. That's what I'm trying to say.
When did Lost in Space come out? I'm curious.
It was early like late 90s, I think. And
It
this
might
came
have
out
been.
like 99, I think.
Yeah, I think this came out in '97, right?
97, yeah. 2006.
No, that's a streaming. It don't,
Oh.
it doesn't have listed where it came out in theaters. It's supposed to have a list. I guess that's a typo on their part.
It came out in '97.
'97, yeah, yeah. I knew it was closer to the mid '90s. I remember this movie actually had some groundbreaking effects with how they filmed going in and out of the spaceship scene. People hadn't done certain things like that before. It has some dated CG. And matter of fact, they talked about that. They were like, while they're floating in the air, or not air, in the or the zero gravity, they decided not to do that throughout the entire movie because it would just be too technically expensive and it'd be too expensive and too technically challenging. So they had one little scene, and after that, they turn on the gravity so they can walk around. So what's your final rating? Nintendo 8.
4.
4, okay.
I give it 4. 4 balls.
Yeah, good. So you think it's above average, all right? Or you think it's underrated? All right, so we're gonna move on.
I do think it's underrated for the time and the fact that it had a lot more competition.
That's 3 out of 5. DJ Dave, 3 out of 5. All right, so we're gonna move on to Johnny Mozzarella.
Don't let me down, man.
Man, I hate to do it to you, Dave, man. This movie is awesome, man. But Motundo, he actually hit it on the he actually hit it on the head though. Like the issue with this movie, I think when it originally came out is because it had too much to compete with.
Like what?
Alien Resurrection, Gattaca,
But yeah, it did come out around the same time.
Yeah, all of that came out around the same time. Those are big movies back then.
So you mean generally
Fifth Element?
So you mean generally science fiction movies?
Science fiction movies, not so much horror, but Alien Resurrection is sci-fi / horror. Yeah. Remember, Alien Resurrection
was trash.
It was a big movie. Like it wasn't a good movie, but it was a big movie.
I hear you.
They spent a lot of money on the marketing, and I remember it was like everywhere at that time period. So I think it just got, I just think it got overshadowed at that time period. But if you really go back and you watch all of those movies, this is the best movie that came out that year, especially in the sci-fi genre. So this is the best movie.
When did Alien Resurrection and Lost in Space? When did those come out?
I don't know about Lost in Space, but all of those movies came out in '97. Fifth Element came out in '97. Starship Troopers, Men in Black. Come on, Men in Black. It had to contend with Men in Black, even though Men in Black isn't a space movie, but it's a sci-fi. It's a sci-fi comedy movie, big budget. So I can understand why this movie wasn't. It's just too much to contend with. And at that time period, I don't think Laurence Fishburne. I don't think he was as big an actor as say Will Smith.
Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't Morpheus yet. You're right. Fifth Element.
Yeah, he wasn't Morpheus yet. So
you're right.
And then Fifth Element. Come on, man. He's not beating Fifth Element. It's
you're right.
It's just too much. But to get back on track,
hold on, John.
Event Horizon.
John,
what happened?
Fifth Element did come out in '97.
Did?
I personally think Event Horizon is better than Fifth Element.
Oh, far superior. Well. Yeah. No, it's better. I wouldn't say far superior, but it is better. But to get back on track,
Lost in Space came out. Lost in Space came out in '98.
Oh, so that came out the year after.
Yeah,
year after. Okay. But when you think
I know for a fact Men in Black came out in '97 because I remember going to see that.
The Sphere came out in '98. And Men in Black came out in '97. So you're right, John. You're right.
Okay. Yeah. So I actually agree with Motundo there. I just think it had too much to contend with. But even with all that said, this movie's fantastic. I mean, it's just a beautiful blend of horror and science fiction, and they don't even really get into the horror part until what, like almost halfway through the movie. I mean, it just starts off as a science fiction movie, and then it slowly creeps into that alien territory,
It's
and
kind of
then
like
boom, they hit you with straight hardcore action, people getting destroyed, eyes. I mean, it's a
hey,
slasher. It's a
John, can you turn it down just a little bit? Like you're like really loud.
I mean, I did turn it down. I'm just loud, Brian. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just
He's
loud.
excited.
Okay, very excited about what I'm talking about.
Excited.
Okay,
Exactly.
I mean, I can turn it down a little bit more, but I mean,
Can I make another point, Jay? And
what's
um,
that?
and when you really think about it, how many movies did this movie actually influence? Because you had House on Haunted Hill, who started with the same premise. You got them going and exploring a house, and then
House on
shit
Haunted
turned.
Hill is an old movie, dude.
Yeah,
No,
that's a remake,
60s.
yeah, but the remake is the same thing, the same premise. So
and that
they
movie
go in there
that
and
remake sucked, by the way.
it did, but at the end, like everything gets
Uh,
topsy turvy. They had a bunch of movies like that that follow the same premise, and I think this one came out first.
Wait a minute, hold on. No,
And
House on Haunted Hill was good. It was the haunted
13
mansion.
Ghosts.
No, haunted mansion or whatever. The one with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Liam Neeson. Because House on Haunted Hill was the one with Taye Diggs, right?
yeah, I think that was the one with Tay Diggs.
That was good. That was good. But the haunted mansion or something, whatever it was called, that shit was lame. But I'm sorry, John. We're interrupting. You could continue with your final thoughts and your bold grade.
um, well, I try to keep it short now, but one of my favorite scenes from that movie was when they were first like exploring. And I think it was Sam. Yeah, I think it was Sam Neill when they walk into the gravity drive room.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a panoramic shot of him walking in, and it kind of shows you like the whole room, and it's just a really nice scene, and just the way that it was designed, how it looks, like it's just tight. Like I really enjoy. Like that's the most. When I think of that movie, that's the first scene that comes to mind. Is just how that gravity drive room looked, and the way he walked in, and just how he was looking at it. It was almost like he was looking at it like it was like his baby or something. Like, oh, I finally found you, or something like that. But just the way that it looked, I thought was just cool. Um, no, it's definitely not legendary. I wouldn't go that far because some of the special effects don't hold up today. And even back then, I thought looked kind of like, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But everything,
scene.
yeah, but everything else about the movie, I thought was very well done. I mean, come on, Laurence Fishburne was like the best lead actor that you could ever have in a horror movie. Like, just no nonsense. Let's go. Let's get out of here. There's no trying to do none of that. Like, I love that. Like, it feels so refreshing. After watching so many horror movies, it felt refreshing. Like, finally, someone is just like, nah, man. Like, we're not about to sit here and deal with this. Like, we came, we saw. Now it's time to bounce. I don't know what's going on in here. My job is to my people, not the people that are already here. But no, I would say this is definitely a 4.5. Just because of the special effects. It's one of those things where I want them to do a remake of this movie just so I can get new special effects, but I feel like they would screw it up, so just leave it alone.
That's interesting because I think the only time the special effects don't really work is that first scene where you're seeing things flying around because of the zero G. But everything else, man, like when that portal was opening up, it looked amazing.
Yeah, it looked good. Yeah, it did look
Extremely
good.
well designed. I just thought it was awesome looking, and a lot of the stuff was practical. Like all the gore and stuff was practical effects. So I think special effects wise, it kind of holds, except for that one scene. You know what I'm saying? One other thing.
It could be. Like I said, I did watch it. I watched it on the Crystal 4K TV, and it's just different. Like even new movies, like it bothers me. Like I actually enjoy watching movies downstairs than I do in my bedroom because it's too much. It's like it's too clear. Like everything is too clear. Like so it might have just been that, but I don't know. When you watch it on that resolution, you can definitely see the issues with the special effects.
I think that also I wanted to say that this is pre Morpheus Laurence Fishburne. So you're right. I don't think he had the same level of popularity at the time. Because
Sam Neill though was
Sam
very
Neill,
popular at that
he
time.
was because he was in Jurassic Park. He was again he played in another kind of like hell type movie. He played the Antichrist in I think the third Only movie, and he played in a few he played in The Mouth of Madness, John Carpenter movie. I don't particularly like that one, but a lot of people like that one. But I think this movie had a lot going for it. I think it's severely underrated. But my turn is over. Let's move to Negative Nancy, DJ Dave Darko. Give us your overall opinion and your final bulb rating. Oh, and that's 4 out of 5, by the way. Okay, Dave.
I'm sorry. Maybe I need to change my glasses. Whatever y'all saw when you saw that movie, I did not see. Lame. I struggled. I 3 times I've watched it since it came out. I've seen it all the way through once. Once I saw what the engine looked like on the spaceship, I'm like, this is crap. This doesn't even look like any kind of tech. Is it okay we're going to go to Dimension Horror? You can stay on Earth and make this movie. Why even doing this space ballers? It makes no sense, man. No sense at all. Let's get this battle in a water pool in the engine room. If you've seen any episode of Star Trek, at least they can make it look like it's something practical that's going to make it go beyond the speed of light or dimensional.
There's nothing practical about Star Trek.
I'm about to say, like,
nothing practical about Star Trek.
What didn't make sense about it? Like, it's a sci-fi movie. What do you mean it didn't make sense?
You just got a couple of rings running around. That doesn't look like it's going to post any craft through dimension. I didn't see a wire in the whole shit. My God, man. It looked like Stonehenge up in there. It's just stupid. I'm sorry. And when it comes down to this movie, it gets a solid 1. And that's only because they spent a lot to make it look clear and high-res everything. But the rest of it's just garbage. If you had to give that a B movie rating, I don't even think the film would have made it off. It would have never hit the theater. You put that type of talent in there, and you give it that type of budget, and that's the best you can do? Where did you come up with this idea?
So, let me ask. Well, the first thing I want to say is, DJ Dave, your taste is horrible. It's got horrible taste, man. But I want to ask the rest of the crew, what do you guys think of the engine room right here? You guys can see my screen, right? What do you guys think of the gravity drive? Because I think Uncle Dave sometimes comes from things from a very technical viewpoint rather than an artistic. Like from an artistic viewpoint, right? I see this and I'm like, that's menacing looking, right? The engine drive is menacing looking. It fits the mood that they're going for, and the circling rings and stuff. I mean, they kind of even explain it in the movie, as far as what it's doing and how they operate. I can't remember exactly what they said, but how they operate. I remember hearing it and thinking, okay, I can buy that. You know what I'm saying? But Mr. Technical Dave up here, everything has to be this supremely. I'm like, where is your artistic sense, man? like that's not menacing to you? Like when I saw it, I was like, okay, this thing is literally opening up a portal to hell. And the way it did it with the with the lights coming on each little part as it's, I thought it's so menacing looking, it's so scary looking. I don't get it.
Well, it's not only that. I think the way that they're able to merge science fiction with religious mythology, that in itself makes it stands out more than anything else of that time period. I mean, who does that? You know what I'm saying? Like, at that time period, who does that? Who's gonna merge those two genres and write a script about it? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yeah, instead of us traveling through light, instead of us giving you the same old Star Wars, the same old Star Trek, even though those are great franchises, and nothing against it, but we're going to do something a little different. We're going to bring in religion. And it's not even like a 100%. We don't actually even know.
It's not,
you know what I'm saying? They just, they just allude to it. So it's just like
it gives you a reference. Yeah.
Right. So now I just totally have to disagree with you, Dave. This is original. Like
Yeah.
when we chop things down, like Ant-Man and some of the DC films, that's the main things. Like where's the where's the originality at in today's movie? This is it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. This is what we want.
Inside the spaceship. Where's the originality? Stargate.
DJ Dave
Look.
and the rest of the troop, like to me, right? Like this looks way more realistic than Stargate. When I look at this looks real to me. That looks real. This looks real. That looks like it's actually functioning. But when I look at don't get me wrong, I like the Stargate movie. I do. But when they open up the little portal, it looks fake. I like it. I like the concept. I like it. This looks real.
The portal that they go through, it's bigger than the objects traveling. How do you have the thing moving it through space? It's the portal, but it's inside the ship.
No, you didn't properly watch the movie. You didn't properly watch the movie. That's the engine. It creates the portal in front of you.
Exactly.
The gravity drop.
Exactly. So why does the engine look like the portal?
You said what?
And not an engine.
Anyway,
why does the engine look like the portal?
The point what I'm trying to get you to see, Uncle David, like, so this does from a like an emotional level. When you see this thing opening up, it does nothing for you. You know what it is, Uncle Dave? You know
in the engine room?
You know what I've come to realize? You know what I've come to realize about people like you who don't like Event Horizon? You have no souls.
Oh my God.
You're soulless. Because I don't get it. Like, I mean,
three lights around a ring and like teeth around.
Can you see? Can you see? I don't get it. In the
middle of a tub of water. At that.
All right, we're gonna move on.
I give up.
There's no hope for DJ Dave. So what was your final rating? You gave it like a 1.
1.
Everybody hold on.
I think you said 1.5, right?
Not even the half.
Oh, you said 1. Oh man.
DJ Dave, you should be ashamed.
Even with morphine, that's the best you can do.
You should be ashamed.
No shame at all. I tried, man. I tried. I watched.
Try harder, damn it. Try harder. Yeah, but anyway, we're gonna move on